First thing I would like to do is to adopt all of the exhibits that we have attached to the agenda item as well. We also have the transcript of the proceedings. I know the city attorney also has a copy of the same transcript, and we would adopt that entire transcript of both the proceedings at the May 1st and also the May 16th Planning and Zoning Commission, so that it becomes part and formal part of this record. I also have today... I'm sorry.
It will be included.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. I also have today the video of that. Again, it's I have almost 7:45, and I know it's been a long day for you all already. I would show that video, but in the interest of time, I'm adopting it. I would urge you that prior to you making a decision that you look at it. It includes the Professor Mandelker, who is one of the renowned planners and land use persons in the United States from Washington University. He has a law degree from Yale. His background and his resume is contained within the exhibits that we previously have provided. His publications, he's been the consultant for the city of Sarasota, and he was the distinguished visiting lecturer at so many places. His JD degree was at Yale University, and he's both Phi Beta Kappa and Order of the Coif, and all of the documents. And his resume was contained in item number 27, and so I'm not going to restate all of that for you, but he is the Stamper Professor of Law, and he's also, of course, a member of the American Institute of Certified Planners.
Counsel, the video you're saying is of the entire hearing before the Planning Commission?
Yes, it is. And so I have it available over here, and that's what I would adopt as our presentation. What I'd like to do is ask you all to look at it before you make a decision, but I'd also then like to give a summary of it, and then it's not going to be as complete as it would be of seeing the witnesses who then gave their presentation, so you can look at their demeanor and all the things there. But I think it'd be helpful to you to consider doing that, although I can appreciate that you probably wouldn't do this at this late hour. And again, you were dealing with a lot of city business before we got here, and I know the intent was to start at 3 o'clock. That just didn't happen, and we understand that. It's just that I don't think it's fair to either you or us to try to have you look at 50 minutes of a previous matter unless you are alert and ready to do all that tonight. I know you have other times you are here long hours, and I really commend you for being able to do that in the public interest, because I know you do it often. But that's where we are. So I'd like to give some summary arguments that I think would be of help to you in looking at these issues. And I think that you would find that this matter really can be summarized in really 5 or 6 areas. The first summary that I would suggest to you is does the zoning code of the land development regulations of the City of Venice, does it describe or carry out the comp plan under Chapter 163? And it'll come out clearly that as it relates to that obligation, because you are the legislative body that are required to carry out the comp plan. And we would suggest to you that, contrary to what Mr. Depew argued to you here today, that it is required that you have a LDR that is consistent with the implementation of Chapter 163. And to start with, there is no definition of resort dwellings in the City of Venice Code, not one at all. And when you start off with understanding that, you then go to the next issue, and that is this. Mr. Depew raised to you that these single-family residences are commercial activities, and that's the thrust of their argument. And therefore, since they're commercial activities, they should not take place within a residential area. Unfortunately, that's not what your City of Venice Code provides. Your City of Venice Code defines what a single-family residence is, and each of these structures, each of these homes are single-family residents contained within the single-family neighborhood. If they weren't, they would require a change or a zoning change in order to build something different. Today, for the first time, I heard Mr. Slaughter say that these single-family residences are temporary. And I know that you probably heard the same as I did. And I started looking back and I thought, well, it's not a trailer. It's not a mobile home. It's not a yacht. I'm trying to think, if I owned one of these homes, is that a temporary home that they've built inside the areas where you all live? No, they are single-family residences. They are not temporary residences. They are permanent residences. The people who stay there, their duration, the duration of the time that people stay there can be whether I'm there owning it as a person who lives in Minnesota and comes down here only for the season. I could be living in it as a corporation and sending my employees there all the time. There is no restriction on that. So ABC Corporation could own the place and send all of its employees. In fact, if one wanted to fictionalize this, one could create a great fiction of a location and say, you now belong to ABC Corporation if you sign up here for $1. And now you may use this place. Of course, you've got to pay your portion at rent of helping to pay for this place since you're part of the ownership. Well, that's, you don't do that. And the reason is it's very clear. We're dealing with constitutional issues here tonight. We're dealing with the right of real property and what you can or can't do with your real property. The zoning code limits what you can do with your real property. That's what it does. Otherwise, you could do everything with it. And here's why that's important. There are only two types of reasons in the United States and actually Florida Constitution that requires a 12-person jury. One is the taking of a person's life. In order to have capital punishment in Florida, you're required to have a 12-person jury. Florida Constitution requires that. The only other time is the taking of property. The taking of property requires a 12-person jury. Why? Property rights are the most significant rights that a person can own. They are rights that allow you, that we fought wars over in England between various parts. We fight over those right now in, unfortunately, the Middle East. These are significant, important rights that belong to each of us as citizens of the United States and certainly citizens of the City of Venice.